Hello, hello, hi, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. Welcome. Good to see you. If you're joining me live, let me know you are here. Would love to know who's here, who is not here. I got a cool little story for you tonight. Hi, Ali June. How are you? Welcome. Good to see you. I'm kicking it on the floor again. I don't know why I'm kind of liking this. For a few nights, I've been kicking it on the floor. I don't know where you guys are, but it is cold here in Orange County. Well, I think it is anyway. I digress. Let's get into the story tonight. So when it comes to friendship or relationship or any type of a relationship, there is one rule that you have got to remember. And if it's tough to remember this rule, I'm going to tell you a little story. You know, I love stories. If you're new to my lives, like Eddie June, I love telling stories. And my favorite kind of stories are true stories. But I tell a lot of stories. But so this one is another story to prove the point with takeaways, right? So two friends are kind of walking, and they're walking on the road, and a bear comes on their path. Well, they both kind of get scared, but one of them gets scared and finds a tree and immediately climbs up a tree and kind of tries to hide between the leaves. And the other one kind of sees the bear getting closer, kind of drops on the floor, on the ground, and just kind of plays dead. Well, the bear comes up, obviously can't see the guy on the tree, but the one that's laid flat on the ground, playing dead, and he's holding his breath, right? So the bear is kind of sniffing him around, smelling him around, walking around him, and this guy is still holding his breath, right? So finally, the bear walks away, and they're both safe. Let me plug in here. Apparently, bears won't attack a dead body. So if the guy knew this, and that's why he pretended to be dead. So apparently, a bear won't attack a dead body. So the friend comes down from the tree, and this guy kind of gets up, shakes himself off, and the friend that came down from the tree jokingly says, "Hey, so what did the bear whisper in your ear?" And the guy turns around and says, "Well, actually, it's funny you say that. He mentioned to me that if I'm ever gonna go anywhere, if I'm gonna ever take any journey, if I'm gonna be with a friend, I gotta make sure that friend is somebody who is not going to run away when danger hits, when things get rough." As soon as the bear showed up, the guy, he could only think of himself. That's why he climbed up the tree and hid behind the leaves, and never once thought about this other guy, his friend, his buddy, right? So, and that's such a that may be short story, maybe a funny story, maybe to the end, but it has a very, very powerful impact. If you're going to take a journey, if you're going to take any type of a journey, let's say it's a romantic journey where you're going to marry somebody, or you are very committed to somebody. Or let's say it's a business one. Maybe you'd start a partnership with somebody, and now you started a business adventure together. Maybe it's just a casual friendship. Maybe you guys are just becoming great friends or best friends, right? No matter what the relationship here is, if you're taking that journey with that somebody, then you don't want them to kind of quit halfway when the things get a little rough, do you? Let me word it this way. Would you quit halfway on somebody? Right? Would you quit halfway on somebody just as soon as things get a little rough, a lot rough, right? Very true, right? So, would you? Now, your ego, your pride, or whatever it may be, you may say, "No, no, me, I would never quit on somebody. I would never throw in the towel. No, me, no." Okay, if that's the case, if that's really the case, and you would not quit on somebody else that is, your partner in crime, if you would, in any type of a relationship, then guess what? You will attract people that they won't quit on you either, right? One. And two is that if you're the type of a person that you're not going to quit on the journey, then you're going to be extremely cautious, or not cautious, you're going to be extremely conscious of the other person, and you're going to be willing to work things out. Listen, you're in a business deal and things go wrong. You're not going to sit there and say, well, you know what, I think we should close the business and move to the mountains and live in the caves. You're probably not going to say that. You're going to sit there, you're going to get your notepad, you're going to get your pen, and you're going to come up with all kinds of ideas and solutions to the problem, right? Why? Because you're committed. You just told me you're committed. You just said that you would not quit on anybody, right? You just said that. You admitted that to yourself. Okay. If that's the case, then this would be the case. You would get your notepad, you get your pen, and you start writing, you start coming up with all kinds of ideas and where we can do this and where we can do that and this and that, right? Okay. So then that should be translating into all types of relationships and both parties, right? Now, if you're a business partner, you got a notepad, you got a pen, and you're just ready to go and ready to come up with some ideas and solutions, and your partner saying, "Hey, listen, man, it's like Thursday night, dude. I want to go drinking." Right? It's not the fact that they just gonna be there when you're just walking along and things are great. But what happens when the bear shows up? That's the ticket. What happens when the bear shows up? Does that person climb up the tree and hide behind the leaves? Or is that somebody who's gonna drop down on the ground and pretend to be dead just like you? Or come up with a solution for both of you? You feel me? There's a big difference in that. One can say a lot of things, but when it actually happens, when it actually comes to that point when the bear does show up, and then that's the moment of truth. That's the moment of all the stuff you've said and you've thought about, all that stuff. That's the moment of execution. That's when you got to do it. When else would you do it? Like, you've been talking all along. If the bear shows up, no matter what happens, I'm gonna be there. If the bear shows up, no matter what happens, I'm gonna be there, you know. And then when the bear shows up, you're up on a tree. That's the time of execution. You were preaching all this stuff all along, right? Now it's the time of the execution. So it's kind of interesting because we don't want that in our life. We really don't want that. Like we would never sit there and ask and pray and ask for God, please bring somebody for me in any type of a relationship, business, spiritual, romantic. Please bring somebody into my life that's just going to be halfway with me and just going to quit when everything gets tough. You're not going to ask for that. Why would you ask for that? Nobody asks for that. If you're not going to ask for that, then practice not to be that, right? Practice not to be that. Now, here's the thing. There are going to be times where the partnership has to dissolve. I've been in partnerships where it had to dissolve, both romantic and BIM business ones. You guys know about my BIM business one. Some of you know, but it had to get dissolved. Now, that's after kind of going through everything that I thought I could go through and try to do and fix, right? It's not like it gets tough and I'm like, well, that's it, I'm done. We talked about that, right? It's not about that. It's about going through it. And if it gets to a position where, and point where it just doesn't make any more sense, I get it. But then you've exhausted so many things, if not everything, and nothing has worked. And it's a mutual understanding, and between me and my ex-partner, whatever. But then you've got to go through those steps, right? You've got to go through exhausting all those things. When you get there, then you can say, okay, then you can evaluate the process and the position where you are. And based on those two, you can make an intelligent decision. Does that make sense? Hopefully you got some love out of this live. Hopefully you got some inspiration, some motivation out of it, right? And the thought of the day is this. Listen, if you don't like it when people quit on you, don't quit on people. That's really the thought of the day. Hopefully you got some love, some inspiration, enough to share. Maybe tag a couple of people to this or share it on your wall. Do what you got to do. Definitely want to know your thought, your feedback. Maybe you have a different draw from the story. Drop it down in the comments below. Let the feed grow. I appreciate you guys. And remember, if you share, you show that you care. Until tomorrow, where we do it all over again. Much love.